Hi, and welcome to the Advertising and New Media Learning module. Here we're going to talk about some of the factors that influence the relationship between sport and advertising and discuss some of those key underlying theories that help guide sport marketing. At the end of this module, you should have a better understanding of things like relationship marketing, brand and team loyalty, and why fans are willing just to make this a billion-dollar business. But first, we have to understand that sport is unlike anything else in the sense that it has a duality with advertising. Sport relies on advertising to help promote its events, while then simultaneously offering a very lucrative space for advertisers then to help sell other brands. Now, in this, we've seen over the last couple decades the transition of sport being a game to actually being its own economy. And it's really easy to understand why. You see, back in 1776 BC, the first Olympics, it was an opportunity for athletes and spectators to pay homage to the gods. And we do the same thing today, only those gods are actually known as brands. There's a really unique relationship that we have to understand between fans, the teams, and then other ancillary brands that make advertising and sport marketing so intertwined and actually make it a billion-dollar industry. You see, back in Babe Ruth's heyday, money was made from selling tickets. But now there's multiple sources of revenue coming in. These are things from like television rights, radio talk shows, upgraded concessions and upgraded seats, mobile apps, sponsorships, and of course, don't forget about merchandise. So we can identify there's a lot of opportunity in multiple sources of revenues, but the bigger question is how do we get people involved so we can get their money? And that's where we want to talk about new media and advertising with fans. One of the cool things about sport is it's not just a consumer good, but rather it's about developing an emotional relationship between those who are consuming it and making sure that they're coming to your stadium and making it a very valuable thing for other advertisers to be a part of. And it's easy to do considering the fact that fans are pretty emotional when it comes to their sport. One of the reasons we're seeing so many increased opportunities for advertising and revenue is due to this changing media landscape or new media. Traditional media focuses on a user's exposure to given media and content. New media, though, is actually merging traditional media forms with new digital technology forms. And the key here is a focus on interactivity with the consumer. Einstein once said E equals MC squared. Well, sports marketing professionals actually say EC is equal to MC. Simply put, every company is now a media company. Sports teams and leagues and offices, they're not just worried about the on-field product and making sure that the best players and athletes in stadiums, but they're actually turning themselves into their own media companies. And it's because the users want more, consumers want more, and fans want more. In fact, fans are so hungry to be part of this mix that they themselves are generating media. Users are part of this mix because they're creating their own content and they're able to share media on all these new platforms because of new media. Some of this is rational knowledge sharing, for example, discussing trades and salaries and recruiting. But other sites are about the emotional self-expression and doing anything from joy to frustration with the team. New media and the fans has also drastically changed the way that fans interact with athletes, which again has altered the value and the advertisement investment of sport. You see, fans feel they have a parasocial relationship with an athlete. What that means is, I see you on TV every week, I see your interviews, I buy your products, I think I know you and I know everything about your family. And I feel that you know who I am too. Now, this isn't a real relationship. This is something that we garner because of the media, but they're not following us on our Twitter and they don't care anything about what we do. But we still feel like we can talk to them, and every once in a while they'll talk back and it can be exciting. I'm sure that this guy, even though this may not be an appropriate tweet, was pretty excited that Matt Barnes took a moment to respond to his comment. It's important to note that new media has created this two-way communication, but that does not always mean it's a two-way relationship. And we're going to talk about this a little bit more in our relationship marketing section. While fans communicate with an organization, sometimes it behooves an organization to respond, but it does not mean that the fan and the organization are always in a relationship. So we can have two-way communication without actually being in an authentic relationship. But that is not to say that organizations should ignore their fans. Organizations should endeavor to match the values of their organization to their customers' values through a strategic and integrated marketing strategy. And there's a lot of different ways we can approach this, but we have to understand when it comes to fans and why this helps with our relationship marketing is that fans are in a relationship with you. We're going to discuss this in greater detail in the Sociology of Fans module, but when your team wins, fans feel like they're personally a winner. And when the team loses, they feel like they personally have lost, which sometimes creates an uneasy tension between the fan and an organization trying to make money from the fans. We call this phenomenon burgeoning and corfing. First, burgeoning meaning we bask in reflected glory. And you'll often hear fans of winning teams say, we won, even though you were not anywhere near the sideline and did nothing for the team. You didn't win anything. Now, inversely, when you hear the team lose, some fans, in order to protect their ego, will say, well, those bums, I can't believe they lost. And what this is this is cutting off reflected failure. No one wants to feel like they're a loser, so it's easier to say and blame loss on the team rather than say you were part of it. It's kind of funny how that happens, isn't it? And you're going to find that this all plays into this relationship marketing mix in this advertising world and new media. And as you develop a unique fan base, you need to have two things. You need to have prestige and distinctiveness. You need to win, or at least have an area of own success. Hey, even the Cubs were able to have a level of prestige by claiming to be the lovable losers. That also helped make the Cubs distinct. If you cannot be a championship powerhouse or a championship team, then what you need to do is you need to find ways that offer your fans to cling to something that makes them feel like they're part of a unique and distinct group. And you'll find that with part of the reason why the marketing and the advertising is so interwoven is it's a socialization process that fosters an interaction and causes repeat exposure. Fans are going to go to a game, enjoy the outcome, they're going to come back for more of that. And the more and more that they do, the more identified they become with the team. And lastly, the reason advertising works so great with sport is there's a lot of different reasons why we watch sport. And that allows us to draw in a larger consumer base to advertise our products too. And this also allows organizations a big broad appeal to reach a big bucket of their fans. Daniel Wan, he said there's 8 main reasons we watch. These are to escape reality. This is for our economics, so if we like to gamble on the games. The stress, meaning I like to feel a sense of stress and anxiety. Self-esteem boost. By belonging to a group or watching your team win, you feel better about themselves. Group affiliation. Some people just want to be part of a group. Entertainment, obviously, that kind of speaks for itself. We love to be entertained. Family. There's a lot of times that we watch because someone in our family watches a game and we want to feel like we're close to them. Or maybe you became a fan because your mom or dad were a big fan of a team and you grew up in a household where you all watched that Saturday or Sunday morning game. And then lastly, aesthetics. Some people watch sport for the simple beauty of the sport itself. This concludes part 1 of the advertising and new media module. This was just to give you an overview of how these relationships happen and why they're important. The next part, we're actually going to dig into some of the specifics of relationship marketing so you can have a better sense of how these are actually occurring behind the scenes and you can be more aware of what's happening as a consumer.